Hello, everybody. It is Noah here, and I'm here with Kevin.
Yeah.
And we are here with the FBA Season 8 second trimester draft analysis. Apologies for the video being a bit late. We had a Thanksgiving break, so we're kind of busy for that. But we are here and ready to give a great analysis. So I guess let's get started. This is annoying me. Okay, there we go. All right. So first, I guess I'll start us off. We have an absolutely amazing team. Whoever drafted this is very intelligent. Clearly.
Absolute stud.
Yeah.
Whoever came up with this idea, he must get a lot of bitches.
He must get a lot of bitches. He truly must touch grass every day, right? Surely.
Surely.
But yeah, this team has a lot of synergy, pretty clearly. It has, the standard Torn plus Rain, right? Because Torn can, use Weather Ball. It could hit 100% accurate Hurricanes. And if it's paired with the Polytoad and Poliwrath, the double Poly combo. We also got some good speed tiers. We got the Torn paired with Manectric. Obviously, Manectric's, struggles against ground types, but Tornadus can, hit Hurricanes on them to do a lot of damage, or even a Weather Ball if it's in rain. We also have the combination of, physical wall and Bronzong and a special wall and Sylveon. Of course, the Fairy Dragon Steel Core with our Gudra, which could also be a good special wall or an all-out attacker. We got Pangoro to try to just be, a nice physical attacker and a pair with Bronzong Trick Room. We also have Mungus as another wall, could either be a physical or special wall. And I think overall this team has great, obviously it has great synergy. It has great type coverage. It has pretty diversity of roles. The only thing that I think we're missing is a high tier, physical attacker. We do have some strong breakers in Marowak and Pangoro and Poliwrath and Rain, but I feel like we don't have anything that just threatens immediate damage and is also fast, like Manectric or Tornadus, but on the physical side. Right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think when we first came up with this team idea, it was built around Rain,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Because we had Main that could Thunder, Gudra with Hydration.
Yeah.
And then Torn. Yeah, and can also Thunder. And then so we're like, okay, we can draft Polytoad and synergize with it. And then as our tier 1, we could draft up Torn as our flying type and Hurricane spammer. But then I didn't want to build a complete Rain team.
Yeah, a super offensive, that would have been.
Yeah, I wanted optionality, on weeks that we don't have to bring Polytoad in.
Yeah, you always want that. You want mons that can have a lot of good diversity and stuff.
Yeah.
Is optionality a word?
So,
you said optionality. Is that a word? I wonder.
I think so.
You think so? Maybe.
Hey, I'm not an English major, but
I don't know. Maybe Core can tell us. Core always uses the word factorization and factorize.
Yeah, that'd be very helpful. But yeah, so then the other part of the team is a really good defensive core.
Yeah.
We have Mungus, Sylveon, Bronzong, and I guess you can count Polytoad
and Gudra, bro.
Oh yeah, and Gudra. But then there's a Trick Room element, so it has a lot going for it. I think the one thing that you didn't touch on in terms of speed tiers, I think there's a pretty big gap between I believe it's Lando T and whatever base 80 mon Gudra.
You mean
there's
Torn?
40. Yeah, sorry, Torn and Gudra. There's a 40.
Yeah, well, Torn is I think 121, and then the next fastest is Gudra. Yeah, wow, it is. So what? That's 80 and 120 gap, 41 point gap.
But it's not too bad because we have
we do have Rain.
speedy stuff, and then we have Poliwrath.
Yeah.
But I think it lets people up speed pretty easier.
Yeah, I think that's definitely correct. The thing is most teams against us, they don't have to really worry about running speed, right? If they outspeed Torn and Manectric, then they're gonna run speed. But if they have a Pokemon that's slower than Torn or Manectric, they can just run bulk and not even have to care. Base 100, basically anything between base 110 and base 90, which doesn't really have to worry about running speed that much because we're if they're base 90, what are we gonna do? Run max? We might run max Gudra, and maybe Poly. Not Poly. What's Poly? Is Poly base 60?
I think probably 60. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, what are we gonna do? Like run? I guess max speed Gudra is what can kind of outspeed like a base 90, but besides that, like they can just run full bulk and not have to worry about being outsped. Um, yeah, they don't have to worry about playing the speed game with around the base 100s. So it allows them to kind of run their EV spreads a bit bulkier if they want to.
Right.
Yeah, so definitely is gonna be tough to do with that. But yeah, overall I'd say we definitely do have a pretty strong team. What are we doing this rating by? Are we doing it out of 10?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this is like a, I guess 7.
A 7. I would say at least an 8. I mean, we do obviously have some clear weaknesses. No strong. I mean, okay, it's more that we have like some things that we're missing, but like there isn't really anything that's we're weak to, right? Like,
Yeah, but I think the speed part is like a kind of like a killer.
yeah, especially
least
like
they,
in
like,
draft. I
downgrade
guess it's good. It's really bad in draft where it basically tells our opponents that they can run bulkier if they want, but it does also tell us they're probably going to be running bulkier. So there's that.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense.
I definitely want to give this at least an 8 though because I feel like the synergy is just super good.
7.5.
No, I'm giving this an 8. Fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah, we're really biased out here. That's crazy.
No, I'm not biased, bro. I'm bitch based, bro. Why can't I fucking type? There we go. 8. Fuck you, Kevin. Well, we're not doing halves, bro. We're doing out of 10. No halves. Alright. So I want to start us off with the... Yeah? What's up?
Yeah, so the next team is Spammer Generators. So Lando T, Infernape, Primarina, Roserade, Obstagoon, Strategon, Miss Magius, Cryogonal, and then there's Scissor and Manetric. I don't know, this seems like something, this feels like something cool.
This is a core team.
That's what I'm saying.
Infernape, Primarina, Roserade, Lando. This is a core team.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty, like, I don't know, it's a good team. It's a lot of, like, really fast Pokemon, actually.
Yeah,
like,
it's definitely most similar. Like, I think he had Primarina and Roserade. I think he may have also had Infernape and Lando in his season 17, and he went, like, 0-11, so I don't know. Wait, this is, like, the same team. Wait, let me bring up his team.
It's very similar. I don't think he had Lando. He didn't have Lando.
I think he did. Or was it Garchomp? Oh, it may have been Garchomp.
It was Garchomp.
Okay.
Garchomp. I think Garchomp, Primarina, Roserade for sure. And then might have been Infernape.
I think so. Here, you talk about the team. I'm going to look it up real quick.
Alright. Well, I guess in terms of the team, like, I don't know. I don't have too much to say about it. It's, like, really fast, but I feel like a lot of the Pokemon here are, like, very frail, especially defensively.
Yeah.
So I feel like his
standard
only
core.
so like his only defensive Pokemon are I think Lando and like Mega Scissor.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think Mega Scissor is it's hard to use defensively because you don't have leftovers on it, and then like you want to use it offensively too, so you want to keep health on it. And then Lando just doesn't have like a recovery move. So I think physically the team struggles a little bit, but especially the team is like insanely bulky because he has this Magius Cryogonal, which both have pretty good special defense. And then there's Roserade and Primarina, which are also really specially bulky.
Mm-hmm. Well, wait, just to interrupt you real quick. So he had Cinderace instead of Infernape, Garchomp instead of Landorus, but he had Primarina, he had Roserade, and he actually did have Mega Scissor.
Oh. Interesting.
So yeah, very similar team that he went 0-11 with.
So I don't know. I think it's gonna do okay. It's gonna do fine. There's a lot of like offensive threats to it. Like I think Roserade hits very hard. Same with Primarina. Basically everything on the team can do damage, except Cryogonal and Manectric, kind of. But other than that, like everything is like an offensive threat, which I think is like pretty good for the team.
Yeah.
So I think on most weeks he's probably going to be running more offense than defense.
Yeah. I think that so last trimester they had Tapu Fini. And I think that they actually got a lot of wins off that Tapu Fini running Specs or Scarf for more offensive. But now they just have Primarina, which is going to be like an obvious combine set, and it's also like a lot slower. So I actually think Tapu Fini was better. But to be fair, Tapu Fini is a tier 1 and Primarina is a tier 2, so you definitely get more, what's the word? Value out of that tier 2.
I mean, I think you can also choice pre-Marina.
Well, yeah, but
And
that's like more expected. Like I feel like a lot of the wins off Feeney was just because they didn't expect it, um,
oh right,
especially when it's like a scarf. But I mean, yeah, overall, I think when I remember when I saw this team in season 7 because it really is the same sort of team. Um, I said that it was one of Core's better teams, and I still definitely stick by that. It's definitely one of the best Core teams. Obviously, last time it didn't do him that well, but hopefully he does him better this time. He's definitely been playing better this trimester than this season than any season so far. It seems. I know
that
that
redemption arc.
Core redemption arc. Yep. I definitely do love the Obstagoon here. I feel like it's just another good threat to kind of go off his Infernape and Primary and Rosa raid. It's just a standard core team in the sense that it's very hyper offensive, but not that much web support or it's not like it doesn't fully commit, but it almost does, and it probably should. But I still think his mons are versatile enough. Like something like a Landorus is like definitely really good on this team. Because it kind of fits that theme of like not fully committing, but also kind of being versatile and doing what you want with it. Like he can always run bulkier Premier if he wants. He could always run really bulky like Roost, Defog, Scissor. So it definitely has a lot of options. It definitely is a very scary team. If you don't have the switches to it and you aren't properly prepared for it, you can definitely blow you away. So I think it is it's definitely a strong team.
Something that I
Yeah.
oh
Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say something that I missed is that I think this team is like deceptively like good at hazard stacking
Mm-hmm.
because you have one, two, three mons that can do stealth rocks. Roserade can throw up both types of spikes, and then Obstagoon can run Defiant.
Wait,
So
were you counting
yeah,
in? You were counting Infernape for setting up rocks.
I mean, it gets rocks. So,
I guess.
but I mean, I think the Defiant is gonna be nice. I think I also underrated the Dredagon pick.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Jordagon's good.
Because I am a big fan of Dredagon because it can run. It has a pretty good move pool. You can
Yeah.
run offensive, with, like,
Glare is
Force,
nice.
but then also defensively, you can run Rough Skin,
Yeah,
and then Glare is like
Dragon Tail,
insane
Stealth Rock,
utility.
Glare, yeah, super good.
Yeah,
But yeah, overall, pretty solid. Definitely not like the most impressive team, but it's definitely not weak either. So, what do you think? We give this definitely. I think I'm most we give it a 7.
I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay, I think 7's fair. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think 7's fair. Okay. Moving on to the next team, we got Dutch Dojos. Let's see, we got Kirim, Tapu Bulu. Oh, actually, wait. Let me scroll over. Alright, Kirim, Tapu Bulu, Reuniclus, Swampert, Galvantula, Alolan Persian, Magmortar, Aggron, Lopunny Mega, and Haunter. I think at first glance, this team definitely seems very strong. It definitely has a lot of good synergy. For example, Reuniclus is known for being a bulky setup sweeper. It can kind of be just very difficult to take down. And I think pairing that with Tapu Bulu, if you have the grassy terrain plus leftovers, recovery, and plus of course the magic guard, it's really unkillable. So yeah, I definitely like that pairing. The grassy terrain is also going to help Kirim. Kirim also likes to a lot of times run substitute roost sets, so the grassy terrain will help that as well. Grassy terrain just the healing is nice for his entire team. Offensively, you have Galvantula, who's fast and really strong and can of course set up hazards. Or Sticky Web for something like Kirim, who's only base 95 speed, but with a if the opposing team's under Sticky Web, Kirim becomes a lot faster, and obviously Specs Kirim, or even just a sub Kirim can do a lot of damage. You of course have Lopunny Mega, which is they've had Lopunny. That's their Mega, so they've had it the entire season, and it's been their kill leader by far. And I don't see that stopping anytime this trimester. It seems like a lot of teams are going to be prepared for that Lopunny, but I think Lopunny will still be able to just shred through people with its unresisted dual stab and Scrappy, and having access to return because we didn't ban it. But yeah, on the defensive side, they definitely have a good defensive core. I wouldn't say it's the best. I mean, obviously you have bulky Pokemon like Bulu, Reuniclus, Alolan Persian, I guess even Aggron, but you don't have any dedicated wall. There isn't a single mon on their team, I think, besides Reuniclus that gets reliable recovery. But yeah, so I think it's going to be a lot of. I think the games where you're facing this team, it's going to be very quick. It's going to be a lot of. The beginnings are probably going to start out slow, maybe with Swampert switching in, putting up stealth rocks. Just defensive switching, and then at some point you're gonna have Bulu or Kirim start wall breaking, and then you're gonna have the Lopunny trying to clean stuff up. I think basically if you have good switch-ins to this team, like if you have a Kirim counter, if you have a Bulu counter, if you have a Lopunny switch-in, which I guess that doesn't really exist, you can just definitely just outlast this team because once again this team has no reliable recovery. But yeah, it will still be really difficult. With Persian firing off, parting shots. It can even maybe do some fake tier stuff and then parting shot into Kirim. So yeah, definitely very good offensive synergy. Defensively, it definitely has good synergy, but nothing with that's super long lasting. So this team definitely, if you can easily outlast it, basically.
Yeah, I actually like this team quite a bit. It screams like grassy terrain.
It looks very cool aesthetically. I think it looks like a good team aesthetically.
Yeah, that's true.
Like a draft. Yeah.
I think it synergizes really well with grassy terrain because it's not just like they're drafting a bunch of Pokemon that are like weak to ground, and then just like slapping a Tapu Bulu on the team.
Mm-hmm.
I think like there's a lot of Pokemon that benefit from it, like you mentioned, Kyurem and Reuniclus specifically, that benefit from the healing from terrain, and then they can just like set up, like sub or like set up with other stuff. But then on the other side, I think it's also a hyper offense team, and I think Galvantula like basically ties that together.
Yeah.
Because you just set up webs, and then you have a bunch of Pokemon with like just below the right speed tier,
right,
that like benefit from it.
Like that base 95 on Kyurem really loves the sticky webs.
Yeah, exactly, right. So you have Kyurem, and then Haunter loves it too, and I think Bulu also likes it. So there's that. I think the team also has a lot of good setup options. There's like Kyurem can Dragon Dance, Bulu can bulk up, and then Alolan Persian can actually Nasty Plot, and that set hits pretty like surprisingly very hard.
No, it doesn't. You're lying. Shut up.
I do think
you're lying to yourself. Stop lying, Kevin.
Okay. Well, I think the reason why I'm saying that is because a lot of people like to run like Z Persian. Of course, this one isn't like a Z move.
Actually, no, I know why you're saying that. You're saying that because you're just gonna get fucking Dark Pulse flinched down. That's why.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, overall it's a good team. I think defensively, it's definitely like missing a few. Like to be a good defensive team, it's missing a few components. But I do think that this is more of an offensive team, so they don't really need it. Mm-hmm. And they do have things like Reuniclus, Aggron, Persian, even with I think it's Fur Coat, right?
Yeah.
They can like eat hits if they need them to.
Yeah. So no reliable recovery besides Reuniclus kind of sucks. It kind of forced them to run a more offensive team, which obviously they can do. But
well, I feel like that's the point of the draft, right? Like I don't think they're going to be running like bulky balanced teams.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess like the recovery and the synergy does kind of help. I guess Reuniclus setup, but I mean, just having Swampert plus Reuniclus plus Bulu and Kyurem, you can definitely run bulkier stuff. Actually, yeah, Kyurem gets boost as well. I keep forgetting to say Kyurem.
Kyurem gets boost and Bulu gets synthesis.
Ooh, I completely forgot about that. That's cool. Yeah, I knew Kyurem gets boost. I said it a few times. I just keep whenever I say reliable recovery, I always talk about Reuniclus for some reason. Okay, yeah. So I guess they definitely have options. I feel like there will definitely be one match where they pull out the synthesis Bulu, and then whoever they're facing just gets shit on by that. Yeah, definitely strong team. I think it's definitely I think with good play, it could easily be a 10. But I think just looking at it alone, I think I'd probably give it an 8.
I'd give it a 9.
A 9?
Yep.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, the thing is, looking at the players, they definitely have the potential to do it. They haven't been performing well this season at all. Which I think out of every team, I think they definitely are doing like the most their record is completely different than what I expected to be. Like I thought they'd be doing amazing, and that's I think second to last. I don't even think they're playing bad. They're just I don't know. It's just not like some unfortunate matchups and just some unfortunate luck, I guess.
A lot of hacks.
Yeah, I guess, but we can give this a 9. I think that's fine. Alright, before we get into the next team, I just want to say I believe that Eska is the king of drafting unaesthetically pleasing teams. Right? It's just me?
Maybe.
You think so? I think so. Look at the last one. Dragapult Buzzwole Thunderous. That shit looks ugly, bro. This one, the first, Garchomp, Verdum, Suicune, that's pretty cool, and then we get, Silvally and Toxic Rogue. Okay, whatever. Anyway, what do we think of this team, Kevin?
So it's Garchomp, Rotom Heat, Suicune, Greninja, Silvally, Coppergregious, Toxic Rogue. Kamala, Megmile, and Abomasnow. I think it's like it's a very nicely balanced team, um, right? Because there's like Fire, Water, Grass plus Greninja offensively. Garchomp's also great, and it hits really hard. I actually don't really know what to make of this team. Like, it's got a lot of threats on it, but I guess there's no like theme. You know what I mean? Like, there's no like, oh, this is like hyper offense. It's kind of just like a balanced team.
Yeah.
Um, I guess I'm a little bit confused on. I mean, all of it. Kind of.
I'm a little confused on everything.
It, it's a good team. I don't know. I feel like it'd be nice if there was like some Abomasnow synergy with like Hail, but I mean, you don't really need that.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, what do you think of this team? I don't really know what to think of it.
Right. I never know what to think of Eska teams. Not to say this is Eska's team, obviously, this is Eska, Fennel, and Mitch, but I definitely think that this would make a nice doubles team. Rotom Heat, Garchomp, Suicune, maybe Greninja, Mega Mawile, obviously, Toxicroak even. But yeah, obviously this is not doubles, this is singles. Yeah, I mean, it's it's something. It certainly is a team of all time. I think that's what we can say. Obviously, they did take Kamala from PSF, which I think is a good pick. We saw it. Camel made a lot, or just PSF in general, just used Kamala very well, both defensively with Wish or offensively with just last resort stuff. The only problem is I don't know how good it's on this team because you have Mega Mawile, who's a slow, hard hitting, physical attacker. So they're probably going to use it more as a wall and pair it with like Cofagrigus, switching to ghost type attacks. But yeah, in terms of their higher tier Pokemon, Rotom Heat and Suicune are obviously pretty good, and they also pair well with Garchomp. It's interesting that they drafted another water type right after that Suicune. You got Greninja. I guess what's Greninja even do? Just fire off like Hydro Pumps and maybe Spikes, right? Just fire.
Yeah, I mean it's like very fast and it can spike.
Yeah, you just like a fast lead of
and U-turn.
Yeah. Yeah, just basically either an offensive guy, or you could just run like utility with U-turn, taunt, spikes, or just a combination of both.
I think it's mainly just for speed control, right? Because all you're doing is running Tor and Gren, so it's not even like Protean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think at this team, I think it kind of depends on the matchup. Like if I think there's going to be some matchups where the opposing team will bring a lot of strong Pokemon, but DMT will kind of just like somehow be able to like outwall them with a combination of Cofagrigus, Kamala, Suicune, Garchomp, a lot of deceptively bulky, or maybe even a deceptively bulky Silvally if they choose the type right. Like I think choosing the correct Silvally type for the matchup is very important. If you look at something like PSF, they have like a super offensive team, which we'll get to in a second. I think they'll just be able to rip right through these guys, right?
I guess so. I mean, I'm interested to see what they do with Silvally.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, Silvally can do quite a few things, but at the same time, it doesn't do a lot of things. I mean, I've usually seen it run like Defog plus like multi-attack and like
just like
other random coverage.
It's parting shot, right? They use parting shot.
Yeah, well, I guess so. Well, and U-turn and stuff, but
yeah.
The point is that I think this is a really oddball team.
It always
and
is.
It's gonna come down. It always is, but it's gonna come down to like how the players work with the Mons than like the Mons themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. We always struggle to analyze Eska's teams, but I think we can safely give this maybe actually, I don't know. I definitely don't.
Nate.
No, I don't want to give it an 8. we can't even do. We don't even know what the fuck this is. We gotta at the very least give it a 7.
No, but like I think they're all quality Pokemon with like fairly decent, but no like.
Okay, I think if we take into account that these guys are good at using teams like this, then yes. But I think just looking at the team alone, we can't give it more than a 7. I think, right?
Okay, that's fair. I'll give it a 7.
All right. So the next team, absolutely excellent. Classic, great VGC team, right? We got Tapu Lele, Mienshao, Incineroar, Whimsicott, and Duraludon, all great VGC Mons. This team will absolutely destroy in VGC. Once again, this isn't VGC. I feel like Camel probably has been playing some VGC 2021, VGC 2021 here with Whimsicott, Duraludon, and Incineroar. and melodic. This is actually a standard VGC team right here. But besides that, in singles, it actually is pretty strong as well. We got. Okay, actually, never mind. Yeah, so we got with the very strong offensive combination of Lele Weavile. The only problem is that they both kind of struggle with steel types. Obviously, Lele gets focus blast, Weavile gets low kick. But neither of them appreciate steel types too much. But besides that, I mean, Weavile, I guess, struggles with maybe some dark types, or doesn't struggle with, but there's dark types that can maybe eat up knockoffs. But of course, Tapu Lele, so the fairy type can get that. I'm just thinking how good of Lele plus Weavile is. I mean, obviously they're both fast. Obviously Lele's only base 95, but they're both fast enough. One's physically hitting, one's specially hitting. They could both kind of be late game cleaners, as well as sweepers, as well as just wall breakers. So yeah, I think they're a pretty good combination. And I guess they're also paired with Zam, right? So Lele plus Zam. There is actually some anti-synergy there. Weavile can't really Ice Guard in Psychic Terrain. But it's possible that they won't come into play because Weavile will probably, a lot of times be Ice Sharding flying types, which aren't on the ground, so I guess we'll do that in Psychic Terrain. But yeah, there's strong offensive mons. Obviously, you have Mienshao as well, which can deal with the steel types as well as Incineroar. And Incineroar plus Melodic is great defensively. You have Whimsicott, which I think is a great value tier 4 pick. Duraludon's also pretty good value. Alolan Golem, I drafted last season, also a good value tier 5. Just a lot of value mons that, they all have... it's kind of hard to see how this team's going to be as a whole. It's definitely clear what sort of synergies each mon has with some of the other mons, but I don't know. I mean, I just can't see how this team really fits as an entire whole. It probably does, but it's just kind of hard to see right now.
Yeah, I mean the way I see it is, I think they.
Oh wait, I realized that I just said a whole lot of nothing. I'm not gonna lie.
I think you talked more about VGC than singles, Brandon.
Sure.
I think the whole point of this team, my guess is that it was built around Tapu Lele, Alakazam, and Weavile.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you have 3 breakers / sweepers, and then you just draft a cast of lower tier Pokemon to support them.
Uh-huh.
I think something that you didn't mention was how terrifying the combination of Lele and Megazam is.
Right.
Because Megazam gets Expanding Force.
Yeah.
So you just set up Psychic Terrain with Tapu Lele, and then you can basically click Expanding Force. Obviously, Dark types and all that, but you get the point. And then the other wall for Psychic types is Steel, and I think that's why they drafted Alolan Golem, because it does get Magnet Pull.
True.
And you can kind of cheese out Steel types with Alolan Golem. It's not a perfect counter like Magnezone, but you can trap them and at the very least weaken them.
Yeah, I mean,
so I think that's a cool...
if they don't resist electric, you could just... Oh no, actually, I was going to say Galvanize Explosion, but you can if you're Magnet Pull. But,
yeah, I mean, I think they use it
like
Fire Punch or Earthquake or something like that.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's a cool aspect. In terms of the lower tier Pokemon, a lot of them are probably going to be used more on the utility side.
Mm-hmm.
So Incineroar is the Intimidator, Whimsicott is a nice grass fairy, Milotic's also very bulky, Duraludon's bulky as well, and I guess Mienshao is also a good physical offensive threat. So there's a lot going for this team. I think it was built around supporting extremely offensive tier 1s and 2s.
Yeah. I will say that if you just look at this team alone, it seems like a bit of a direct upgrade from the previous team. They have, they have the Incineroar again. Instead of Venomoth, they have Milotic. What's interesting is that their tier 1, instead of Rillaboom, they have Tapu Lele, so another offensive terrain setter. And obviously this one pairs a lot better with Alakazam, right? They also have Weavile as their tier 2. Before they had Salamence, which is definitely paired well with the other mons in terms of on the bulky side. But offensively, it doesn't do as much as Weavile does. Weavile pairs great as an offensive threat with having a high speed tier, because previously the only high speed tier they have was Alakazam. And next up was like Mence. Now they have that base. What is it, like 125? Is that Weavile 125?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the only thing, I don't know why they didn't get Klefki again. They got Mienshao instead. I feel like Klefki would have been great here. Obviously, they do have a Fairy and Whimsicott, but I feel like Klefki would have been great instead of the Mienshao, right?
I agree, but I think also like a lot of these teams were drafting with the idea of like having a new team.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think, because I think like of the teams that we've covered so far, not a lot of them have the same like Pokemon that they drafted before.
Yeah.
And I think that's just because they want to try out new stuff.
Yeah, I think the only team that actually, what teams? So obviously we changed a lot. I think Spammer Generators has like the same kind of vibe to it. That's
it's
probably
different Pokemon.
it is mostly different Pokemon. Dodrio's a completely different team. DMT, same sort of vibe once again, but I mean that's just the Asuka team vibe. So yeah, I mean I guess you're right about that. They did keep it Cineroar, but that's pretty much it. And I guess they, obviously have a bulky water and instead of Rotomorph, they have Melodic. But yeah, definitely a pretty strong team. As I said before, like there's definitely a lot of synergies that we can point out within the team. But it's kind of hard to see like a real theme of the team, right? Like I guess you said, just like really strong offensive mons, a solid defensive core, and monster support in the lower tiers, which is, I mean, kind of what we can say about almost any team. But yeah.
But I don't think you need a theme for a team to be good.
Oh yeah, I agree. I guess we'll just have to see how they play it, how they kind of, take all those cores and put them together into one big core, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So what are we giving this? Solid 9?
8.
8?
Yeah, I'll go with 9.
I mean, I could do either. What do you think?
I
Your
like
choice. 9?
I like 9. Yeah.
All right. Molding MSU. Let's see.
So it's they already played some games, but yeah, it's Corviknight, Slowbro, Tarak, Rotomo, Moltres, Palisand, Miltank, Articuno, and then Altaria and Delphox. I actually like this team quite a bit. I can't really put my finger on why, but I think a lot of it kind of just like fits very nicely.
Yeah, it looks. I think. Sorry to interrupt you. I think a lot of teams actually, like their teams, even though they're using a lot of different Pokemon, like the vibe is still the same. Like PSF definitely has a similar vibe. DMT has like the same vibe as last trimester's. SPR does, and I think this team as well. Like if you look at their previous team, it kind of has the same vibe, right?
I agree. I mean, I think that's also a function of like
the players
drafting archetypes that they're most comfortable with.
Yeah, like it's weird. Like it's not even like you can like it's not like you go like pair the mons up from the previous teams one by one or like even like say it's a similar sort of defensive core here and there. It's more just like you look at a team and say, yeah, this looks like that coach drafted it. The same coach from the other team drafted it.
Right.
It's kind of hard to place your finger on, but yeah, keep going.
I think it's. I feel like it's still. Again, it's like there's no like theme to it. But I do like the team defensively. I think Slowbro plus Rotomo is very nice.
Yeah.
And then you can pair that with like other supporting casts like Palisand, Miltank are also bulky. Articuno is like especially bulky, more than a lot of people think. And
Who was, sorry?
Moltres.
Who's especially bulky? Yeah, I missed that.
Oh, Articuno.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then offensively, obviously there's the Mega Altaria, which is always threatening. I like the Tarak pick because I feel like thinking back to their team from last trimester, I don't think they had like any physically attacking Pokemon.
Yeah, they had Stoutland and they had Mienshao.
Right. But I feel like Tarak is like an upgrade from those two.
Yeah, definitely.
Because Stoutland is like at the end of the day is Stoutland. And then Mienshao is...
Stoutland did great last trimester. Don't just Stoutland.
Okay. Well, Stoutland did great, but it's just like...
How about this?
Tarak...
I'll be fair to Stoutland. At the end of the day, it's a tier 5.
Exactly. At the end of the day, it's a tier 5, and you need sand to pair with it.
Yeah, definitely.
Tarak is threatening by itself, no matter what.
Yeah. It allows them to take that Articuno pick without having to, like before they had to get Hippo plus Stoutland. Now they can just do Tarak, worry about other walls with Articuno and stuff like that.
Right.
Um, yeah, well, so I think defensively, as you said, it's really nice, right? You have the Corviknight plus Slowbro, and then obviously you're going to want, electric resist. Well, you got Rotom Mow. You're going to want, a ghost resist. You have Miltank. Only problem is that, Slowbro and Corviknight are obviously amazing physically defensive walls with recovery. So what you're going to want is especially defensive wall that can, obviously resist electric and maybe ghost with recovery. And your best, you have Rotom Mow and Miltank, which are alright, but, you don't have like an amazing special wall that resists electric and ghost. I guess Miltank maybe, but you don't have an electric wall that resists, or an electric resist that's, special wall. And, Rotom's good, but like it doesn't get reliable recovery besides like Pain Split. You do have Palisand, which is, an electric immunity. But yeah, I definitely would like to see, maybe instead of Rotom Mow, something, I don't even know, like what's a good tier 3? Is there even options, like a good Spit F wall in tier 3?
I think Roserade could have been good for this team.
Roserade's alright, yeah. It does get synthesis, I guess. But yeah, as you said, I think Terrakion pairs really nicely. You have a lot of, you have Volturn in this team. Just like last time. Last time they had Torn and Magnezone and Mienshao. And is that it? Yeah, that's it in terms of flip turn or Volt turn and stuff like that. Here they got Corviknight with U-turn, Slowbro with a potential late teleport, Rotom Mow with Volt Switch. So yeah, once again, a lot of ways to pivot out, bring your Terrakion in, damage some stuff, or maybe Moltres, and then kind of set up for either an Altaria or Moltres late game sweep. Actually, yeah, I think
I want to put some more emphasis. I think Moltres is a pretty big threat on their team.
Yeah, definitely.
And you definitely have to prep for it, regardless of whether they're you think they're going to bring it or not.
Yeah, they actually have Terrakion and Delphox as like physical and special breakers, and then they have like Altaria and Moltres. Once you weaken things with your physical Terrakion and your special Delphox, then you could bring in like your setup cleaners like physical Altaria or special Moltres, right?
Well, don't forget, you can also run like Specs Rotom.
Yeah, Rotom's good too. Specs Legion is a lot. But yeah, so definitely a pretty solid team. I wouldn't say anything stands out like as amazing, besides just the Volturn with Terrakion and the good defensive core with core of Slowbro and Miltank. But nothing definitely amazing. I think it's definitely a solid 8.
I think solid 8.
Yeah. All right, and once again, I think I said this first trimester, and I'll say it again. I think this season we definitely have the best drafts out of any season I've ever seen in the FBA so far.
Wow, nice job, guys.
Yeah, good job, guys. All right, yeah, Pittsburgh Reggie Steelers. Once again, going with the Rain team. This Rain team, if you look at it compared to last one, it just looks so much more threatening. I'll say that. Yeah, definitely. Like you have so Zapdos, obviously the same as before. Instead of Politoed, they're going with Pelipper, so they're definitely going they're switching from more bulky Latias, Amoonguss, Crocodile, Comfey, Politoed core, which was definitely really good. They're going with much more offensively to pair with their Barraskewda and stuff. So you got your offensive Zapdos, you got Seismitoad, Kingdra, Barraskewda, you got Pelipper, which is a much more offensive rain setter. And then on the defensive side, you got Tangrowth, you got Aromatisse and Aggron. I think they honestly got some really good lower tier picks to kind of smooth things out. So that basically they were going super offensively, and they're just like, okay, they're deciding, we want at least a few walls. So they go with Electros, which is just an all around, kind of do whatever you want it to. It could definitely be
it's a good tier 4.
Yeah, it's a good tier 4. You can run Assault Vest. It could definitely be very deceptively bulky. You can run Thunder, of course. And you also have Tangrowth, Aromatisse, Spiritomb, Aggron Mega. I think Aromatisse and Spiritomb are great. For the lower tiers, if it fits really well with the kind of get like a last moment defensive core. Yeah, I think the only problem with this team is obviously you have a lot of mons that are breaking stuff in rain. I think Seismitoad plus Kingdra is super strong, as well as Zapdos and Barraskewda. The one thing I'd like to see though is if you look at Seismitoad and Kingdra, they both could be run physically, but they're mainly special breakers. Same as Zapdos. Your only real physical attacker, or physical breaker, I guess, is Barraskewda. I would like to see, another physically offensive mon on this team that just hits really hard, that isn't a water type. But yeah, besides that, it's definitely a really strong team. And if you do not have a solid water type switch in, if you don't have a Ferrothorn, basically, you're getting blown back by this team. Or a Slowbro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, no, actually, who cares about Slowbro, bro? King Jones hasn't to fuck that shit up.
Yeah, honestly. I must say this is a certified Darion moment. I actually like this rain team quite a bit.
Yeah.
I agree. I think this is the best rain team we've seen. I feel like an FBA. Well, I guess our rain team's pretty good. I think I think this is a very nicely built.
Well, this is definitely a rain. Like our team is it has rain, but it's not like a rain.
We're semi-rain.
Yeah, this is a rain.
But yeah, I actually like this team. It's very threatening offensively.
Mm-hmm.
I love Seismitoad and Kingdra. I think those were probably the best sweepers they could have picked.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously with Barraskewda. I think now that they don't have a lot of physical attacking power, they really need to put more emphasis on building the right Barraskewda set.
Yeah.
And like taking better advantage of the Z move.
Yes, definitely.
I feel like on ladder, you just like slap a choice band on Barraskewda and you just like start flip turning on shit. Because like people don't like build for rain defensively on the ladder. But I think when you play like in draft, obviously people are gonna have like 1 or 2 mons that can like either wall Barraskewda or like eat up like 4 to 6 hits from it, and that gives them time to like do like their own damage to the team. So I think choice band Barraskewda is like fine, but I think using the Z move is going to be important in this trimester for them. And I think also Barraskewda gets Sword Stance. And I've actually never seen anyone in my entire life on Sword Stance Barraskewda.
I had no idea. It really gets Sword Stance? That's crazy.
I'm pretty sure. I honestly, maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'm tripping.
Honestly, I'm gonna look it up while you keep talking. I think you're tripping, bro.
Okay, or I'm probably tripping. Anyways, I think Barraskewda is going to be important to this team. But I think defensively,
it doesn't get Sword Stance, my guy.
All right, my bad. Trust me, I'm good at Pokemon. Trust me.
It wouldn't even be that good with Sword Stance anyways, but yeah.
I like the defensive core on this team. Like, there's just a lot of really bulky mons. Tangrowth is like really great. Electros and Spiritomb are just those kinds of Pokemon that don't get recovery, but they have really nice defensive stats.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason why they're like demoted to lower tiers. But I think once you pair that with like a Wish Passer, like a Rumbatiste, it has the potential to be bulky. Yeah. But I think most of the time this team will be more offensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I think last semester I'd say like Lagoon Lugia's that was the team. Last trimester, I'd say Lagoon Lugia's the team of the trimester, right? They kind of did better than I expected. I want to see Pittsburgh Red Steelers pop off this semester. I know trimester. I know Liam can do it, bro. I believe in Liam. Liam, I want to see you pop off. Obviously, first half of the previous trimester, Darian wasn't doing so well, but he's basically recently made a big comeback. I want to see Darian pop off. I want to see Hoyden pop off, bro. I want to see Pittsburgh Reggie Steelers come to the top of the leaderboard. I want them to be a contender with us. I know they have potential.
This is a Reggie Steelers comeback arc.
Yeah, I want to see it. I really
honestly,
want to see it.
Shout out Darian, who claps me.
Shout out Darian, who claps me. Okay. But yeah, definitely a very offensive, very scary rain team. We definitely don't give this lower than an 8. We don't give it higher than a 9 either. What do you think, an 8 or 9?
Yeah, let's give it an 8.5.
So we weren't doing 8.5s, but fine. We'll do 8.5s just for you, Kevin.
Thanks.
Okay. We got the last team, LGL. This team definitely has... Well, they pretty much... so basically, just as a reminder, every single team has to, at most, trade away 1 Tier 2, 1 Tier 3, and 1 Tier 4. So if you want to keep as most mons as possible, then basically you just have to do that. So they basically did that. The only thing that... So they basically did the minimum amount of getting, changing up their team, besides changing their Tier 1 from Coco to Spectrier. Just pointing that out.
Yeah. So this team, Spectrier, Mamoswine, Azu, Metagross, Makalola, Glaceon, Charizard, Pikachu, Sceptile, and Azelf. I think this is a direct improvement from their team last semester. Because I remember last semester it was like Coco plus like 2 Pikachu evolution, plus
yeah, so they
Alolan Raichu plus Pikachu. there's no ghost resist. Actually, oh yeah,
Yes.
there's no ghost resist.
Yeah,
Now they
exactly.
finally got one.
And they got a ghost.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that in a
Yeah.
second.
So real quick, by the way,
Um,
they traded out Coco for Spectrier. They traded out Gyarados for Azumarill, Raichu Alolan for Muckalolan, and Claydol for Glaceon.
which I think are all really good trades. Um, so looking at the team offensively, I mean, I feel like I just got to start by talking about Spectrier. Um, People will kind of like clown on it, like it's kind of like a mono ghost Pokemon. Like all you do is like click Shadow Ball, Sub, Calm Line, Dark Pulse, and Hyper Beam like once in a half moon.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like it's something that you just have to prep for.
By the way,
And
if you guys don't bring Hyper Beam to at least one match, I'm cutting you guys from the FBA. You guys are gone.
they already clicked Hyper Beam once, by the way.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
In week 1? Yeah, it was versus Axel or versus Jacob?
I think that was first.
Okay. You guys are good. You guys aren't getting kicked. That's funny.
No, but I think Spectre is incredibly like it. Even if it's not gonna like do anything in the actual match, I think it's like a black hole in like team building.
Yeah, definitely.
Because like you have to
prep for it. Yeah.
Right. But then like even outside of spec, like Mamo and Azu also hit like a truck, and then you have like Metagross. Glaceon is basically budget Kyurem.
Yeah.
And then obviously Sceptile and Azelf are also like really good special attackers. I think offensively this team is set. Like I have no complaints about it. Defensively, it's decent, but I think they like let go some of that defensive stuff they had from last trimester.
I mean, it's really just Claydol for Glaceon. That's pretty much
right.
it. Like they added Muck though instead of Raichu Alolan. They got rid of Gyarados for Azu, which I guess losing Intimidate, and then I guess Coco had like screens and stuff. So I guess that's also.
Yeah, I mean, like I guess so in terms of like purely defensive Pokemon, well, they don't have any like purely defensive Pokemon.
Yeah.
But obviously Muck is very bulky.
Yeah.
Azu is very bulky. Metagross is very bulky.
They played it a bit bulky. Like I think Coco with the screens was a big thing that they had that was really working out for them. So it's kind of interesting that they got rid of that.
Yeah. So now it's like, it's just a bunch of threats, man. Like that's all I can really say about it. But I like it. I like it. It kind of reminds me of. It reminds me of, like Core's team.
Yeah, kind of, but like better. Well, better than his standard team. I think this team, his season 7 team as well as this team is actually pretty good. I think a good way to put it is that last semester it looked like a bunch of offensive mons that didn't really fit together, and it's just like, okay, this doesn't look like people who know how to build a team. Whereas this team, it kind of also looks like a bunch of mons that don't really fit together, but they don't fit together in a way that fits together. You know what I'm saying? Right?
Yeah, no, exactly. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's like a lot of these games are just going to be spamming offensive wall breakers until you have one like Pokemon on your team. Yeah. They can just steamroll through the rest.
I feel like there are like Pokemon that look like they just can't fit on, like they just don't fit on a team. They just do their own thing. Like Azumarill, Spectrier. Another one is like Superior, right? I don't know. That's just like how I feel.
Well, I think what's nice about this team, right, is that there's a ton of like Ghost and Dark switch-ins. So it kind of is like built around Spectre almost, because you have like Azu, which can switch into like basically all Dark type hits, and then like Muck can like Pursuit, Trap, Ghost, I guess.
Yeah, I think Muck's. I think they're trading away Raichu for Muck is pretty solid. I mean,
Muck is a huge pickup for this team, just in general, because they didn't have a Ghost resist.
Yeah, I think that. Even though they traded away like a small amount of Pokemon, they traded away, the minimum is 3, and they traded away 4. I think their team actually does change a lot with those though, because it shifts the focus from terrain with setting up screens to just all out offense with a little bit of bulk mixed in there with Muck.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I do think this team is pretty much as strong as their last semester team, maybe a bit stronger. They obviously that team. I mean, last semester I said it was the worst team out of all of them. But they obviously, showed us that, they know how to use these really unorthodox teams. So I definitely want to see it again with this team. I think this team has a lot of potential. If they play it right, I think they can have another great semester, just like the first, or another great trimester. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of
8.75.
8.75. You know what? Fine. I'll go fine. 8.75. Sure, Kevin. I'll give it an 8.75. By the way, I think last time we gave it like a 5 or a 6, so definitely a big improvement. I think it is a bit of bias though. Like, I feel like if we saw them do awful with that team, which, they definitely could have, but they did a lot better than we thought, then we probably would rate this team lower and not have as much confidence in them.
Agreed.
Okay, I fucking hate this. There we go. Alright. So now I guess let's rank the teams. So the best team, there's only one 9 there's two 9s.
Why don't you start it off? You start it off, and then I'll add my comments or do my own ranking. And
should I? You want me to do the entire ranking by myself, and then you're gonna, or should I just start?
No, I'll chime in.
Okay.
I just have to step away from it.
Oh, okay, yeah. So the number 1 team, you only have 2 9s, so obviously we're gonna give it to one of them. It's Dutch Dojos and Parasectric Functions. I just want to give this to Dojos just because I feel like if you look at their draft, it just looks like a draft team, right? It just a lot of mons that are good in draft, whereas Parasectric Functions just has like a lot of really offensive mons that kind of fit well in a vacuum. Like some of them fit well together, but once again, the whole team isn't really there. Whereas here, it's very clear how their entire team is very cohesive. So I'm gonna rank this 1, and then PSF gets number 2. Number 3 is gonna be obviously the 8.75. It's gonna be Lagoon Lugias. And then we have number 4 is going to obviously be the 8.5 Pittsburgh Radio Steelers. And then we have a lot of 8s. So we have Molding MSUs and, actually it's just 2 8s. Molding MSUs and CRD, Cross the Necrodons. Let's see. MSU has a very strong team. So yeah, I'm going to give it to... it's actually tough.
I would probably give it to MSU, just because of our speed tier problem.
Yeah, but they also have the problem of like their only ghost resist is a null tank, and which is good, but they have no strong electric resist.
Don't disrespect null tank like that.
No, null tank's good. But okay, I'm fine with that. And then 6. So 7 is gonna go between SPR or DMT. So yeah, it's 7 8 right here. I think it's pretty obvious. Actually, it's not so obvious. It might be a bias coming in, knowing that DMT is has a lot of history making these sorts of teams work. But I'm gonna give it to DMT, I think, and then give number 8 to SPR.
Yeah, I give it to DMT too. I think I think the Pokemon that DMT has can run a bigger variety of sets. Mm-hmm. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, we saw that in last semester. They did the same sort of thing. And I think DMT is also really good at bringing the lower tiers. Right? They brought Senate Scorch and Stuntank a lot last time. This time, I'm sure we'll see a lot of Toxic Rogue. Hopefully we can see Toxic Rogue to the top. Hopefully we can see some SD sets and see Toxic Rogue pop off. Not against us, of course, but Actually, we're Rain. Fuck. That's okay. We got Torn. Fuck, sub Toxic Rogue's gonna set up on a Moongus and just sweep. Okay, well, whatever. But yeah, that's the ranking. Once again, of it. Yeah.
I want to say, I agree with number 1 being Dodrios.
Yeah.
I think if Camel and team drafted this in a VGC draft, they'd be auto number 1.
Well, yeah, 100%. Yeah. Not even
also to all the viewers, when we refer to these teams as Camel's team / Esco's team, we're referring to the whole team. It's just that, those names come to mind first. No offense.
They're the first ones listed. They're the unofficial team captains.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so that's our ranking. I think, honestly, these rankings could honestly go either way. Like, the number 1 team or actually, that's not a good example. Let's say the number 3 team. Number 3 team, we got Lagoon Lugias, and the number 18 SPR. I could see someone honestly switching the two. Like, I think these are all very close. Just like first trimester, I think all the teams are very well drafted. I mean, that's why we didn't give any team a 5 or below. Did we give any teams no, we didn't give any 6s. All very strong teams. I think next trimester, if we also get really strong teams, we're going to start maybe lowering or raising our expectations. Maybe widening the scale a bit. To not only have above 5s, because obviously the teams are starting to be really solid. By the way, next semester, next year, season 9, if we do end up doing 2 different divisions, like a meta champ and a meta type, I do think that we'll see the meta type players be infinitely better than the meta type players of season 7. Because I think like everyone is just playing super well this season, or at the very least they're improving, right?
I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all we got. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Good luck in trimester 2. Also, I just want to say that first trimester, if you look at the standings, it was a very good first trimester. We have a lot of 4 and 3s, so it's a very close season so far. Obviously, it's only the first trimester, so some other teams can definitely. Oh wait, hold up, my thing isn't showing it. Oh, it's not going to show it, is it? That's annoying. Okay, well, whatever. Yeah, I fucked up with my OBS. All right, well, that's pretty much it. Hope you guys have enjoyed. See you later. Bye bye.
Bye, guys.